Wargaming Tactica 101. And this is building off of a Battletech Tactica vlog that I pushed up yesterday or the day before. This idea of illustrating, using Battletech to illustrate a sidebar concept of we're pushing some miniatures, we're flipping some cards, we're rolling some dice, whether we've got a hex map, a square map, or we're tape measure. There's certain wargaming fundamentals independent of your system. And we want to learn these. We want to be aware of these things and then adapt them specifically for the system you're playing. And there's two reasons for that. First is it's going to help you with the system that you're playing become a better player much, much quicker. We want to cut down that learning curve. I want to get you on the table winning. I want you to open up Battletech, listen to some Tactica vlogs, learn some tactics, and be winning game 2 or game 3, dominating. But second with this, if we understand to look out for these fundamental wargaming tactics, there are two other advantages. The first time you jump into a new wargaming system, you will, trust me. You're like, Fritz, I love my system. I love it. I've got everything invested in it. I'm never going to play another wargaming system. You will be. At some point, you will be. So this idea, if you understand Wargaming Tactics 101, you're going to be able to adapt that system, learn that system, increase that win, decrease that learning curve much, much quicker. The third aspect why this is important to framework before we jump in and to kind of give you an overview of the Tactica vlogs that I've been pushing up to the Wargaming Tactics 101 playlist is also this idea that sometimes your opponent does something and you're like, I don't know what's going on here, right? I mean, if you're playing me against me, doesn't matter the system, and you give me a chance for a charge, for glory, hand-to-hand combat, bolt pistol, chainsword, physical attacks, I'm in. I'll do it. You can't give me that tabletop glory. I'll go for it. Sometimes you know what's going to happen. Although sometimes you don't, or you're coming up against a new unit where you're like, I've never faced this unit before. What do I do? When you step back into the unknown and you're confronted with that in a wargaming system, then having these general tactics to fall back on gives you a roadmap. So take these tactics, adapt it to your system. All right, we've got the list, the armada, the battle group, whatever that's going to be. My toys on the table and your toys on the table. Some of these toys adjusted for the system, usually, for the most part, the wargaming systems we play, there's some sort of buy-in. Battle value, power points, squadron points, support points, and based on your faction, you pick certain units. And the idea is you can have a diverse range of units, I can have a diverse range of units, and we can have a cool, fun battle. If we look at historical wargaming, DBA, DBN, Romans, Napoleonics, Chain of Command, World War II. Sidebar, Chain of Command, World War II. Fantastic rule set. One of the best rule sets for wargaming systems. Such a good rule set. I regularly take my Warhammer 40,000 miniatures for the visuals and just play them with Chain of Command rule set. Really great rule set. Pushed up to the channel here under the Chain of Command playlist. You want to check out that rule set. But this is a historical rule set, and I love tanks. So if I'm playing early war, I only have so many tanks available to me. If I play late war, more tanks, different types of tanks. So I say that because sometimes your list is really restricted based on the historical time period that you're playing. Historical is what we're often looking to do is recreate an actual moment in time and ask that question, modified by the dice, what would you do? How would it have played out differently? Could it have been different? So we've got that framework and we utilize that. Okay, when you build your list, I like to hold a little bit in reserve. So 90% of my forces going out, doing the mission, this and that. 10% kind of held back, not committing. Maybe 15, maybe 20. You'll come up with a percentage. It can't be so great that you have a part of your list hanging back doing nothing which means, 50, 60% of your army is going against the opponent and 100% of their army is coming against you. You'll just get crushed on the torrent of dice alone. So a little something. Maybe it's one unit that can just hang back and look for opportunity. Now, let's give kind of an example, 2 systems that I play to utilize this. And again, I'm going to be talking about 2 systems here, but we're looking at this universal rule to adapt it to yours. When I'm playing Battletech, I'll keep a group of warriors, 4 attack helicopters. Low battle value, just chilling. Or I'll keep 2 Saladin tanks. These are hover tanks with big guns. Recently, we've been playing a ton of X-Wing miniatures. Trying to restore law and order to the galaxy, I'll keep a pair of TIE interceptors. Kind of hanging back, waiting for that moment. They've got some good lasers. They've got some good speed, utilizing that. Something held back. And what you're going to do is when your opponent makes a mistake, when your opponent moves something where they maybe shouldn't, that means you have something that can pounce on that opportunity. When there's an opening, you can take it. And I don't mean this disrespectfully because I make tons of mistakes all the time. Wargaming systems, you're going to make mistakes tactically on the table. It just goes without saying. Hopefully you make less than your opponent. That's the first step in eliminating mistakes. Make less than your opponent. And making sure that if you do make a mistake, they don't have something in reserve that they can move, shoot, and scoot fast and exploit. So I like to keep a little something back. Just waiting. You're going to make that mistake. I'm going to make those mistakes too. Hopefully you're able to see them with your opponent and not make those mistakes. So having something reactive, having something that you can do, that you can utilize, and from there, exploit the openings in the mistakes that your opponent has made. Taking your wargaming system, what do you have? What do you have that can do that?